This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
I wanted to ask both of you, just from Tony, from you sitting at ringside, Arn, you being in the ring, and excluding yourself from this, Arn, what has been your best rivalry that you witnessed over your careers? Like, you can actually just sit there and you got lost in it, Tony. Like, when you're calling the match, like, you can't even, it's almost like you're the one watching it from front row. Like, it really brought you into it. And same thing for you, Arn. Is there a rivalry that maybe you witnessed, maybe as a backstage producer, or even in your career where you're backstage, you're just like, and this is just really great. These two guys are just having a great story, and I'd love to see it play out.
You know, one that probably doesn't get enough credit, but if you go back and watch it, I think you'll agree. Chris Benoit and Booker T had a best of 7 series, and it went all 7 matches, and those guys weren't getting the full push back then. It wasn't like they were superstars when the thing started. But by the time it was over, because every one of those matches were different, the quality of performance was incredible. That's one that I remember that didn't get a lot of press, but probably should have. And some people should go back and open it up and re-look at it and see what you think.
You know what?
One.
Yeah, that is a great one. I had forgotten about that, but you're right. That was tremendous. It's hard. I've always said the best matches and the best rivalries, AJ, just like you said, ones where as a announcer, I quit being an announcer and become a fan, and I get into that. And, we're looking at 86, and I'm thinking about just the rivalry between Dusty and the Horsemen, and Magnum and the Horsemen, and Magnum and Nikita. And and I say those because I had been just a super fan prior to that. And now here, 5 years later, after being a super fan, I was working with these guys. So I was still a fan calling those matches. I was really into it. It's changed for me now, but I enjoy the matches, but it's a whole lot different than it used to be for me, because I was the age of the guys, and now all the guys and girls I call for are kids, right? The age of my kids. So it's a little bit different, but I felt like one of the team. And, if you go back and listen to some of those interviews that Dusty did about Arn, and listen to the interviews that Arn and Ole and Tully and Rick did about Dusty or about Magnum back then, those were the greatest rivalries in wrestling. Those are ones that have stood the test of time. And so those are the ones that I feel that I was very excited about watching because I felt a part of it. Now I can't go without saying that that Revolution a year ago, when Hangman and Kenny Omega took on the Young Bucks, that was one of the greatest matches I've ever called. As far as and I know wrestling has changed a great deal from what they do now to what we did back in the 80s, but that was one of the greatest matches. I also enjoy when I was in WWE that one year, Hulk Hogan and Big Boss Man. That was a pretty good rivalry too. So those are the ones I remember.
Well, I appreciate that, Tony. That is you're covering like all different areas. You're covering 80s, you're covering 90s.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Oh,
Yeah.
Art?
Well, and I'll just add this to that. And if you think about it, from let's just say the first of 86, with the Horsemen, when it was that original stable of Horsemen, when it was Tully and Ole and myself and JJ and Rick, and the actual war was with Dusty, and all the other pieces were interchangeable. Anybody you put as his partner, like the Road Warriors, after we broke his leg, came back for the first time in Philly, painted up with the Road Warrior paint and all that. When those doors flew open and that Road Warrior music played, I haven't felt anything like that. So I think it's a credit to the war that the Horsemen had against Dusty, and anybody that wandered into that group was made pretty much.
Yeah. It was, again, guys, you need to, if you can, I don't know what's on YouTube out there, but if you want to see how wrestling interviews should be done, you need to look at 1986. And some of that stuff is classic. I mean, I go back and and take a look at some of the stuff. And I remembered it. I've forgotten about it, but then now when I see it again, I remember it, that Rick and Arn and the Horsemen would go out, and Dusty would come out and do an interview. It would be great. The Horsemen would come out and do a better interview. So what would Dusty do? He'd come back out again to try to top that. And it was just tremendous, off the cuff, unscripted bullshit. And it was just wonderful to be a part of it.
Well, thank you so much, Arn and Tony. This has been a great experience to talk to both of you, and some great rivalries there. And Arn's got me itching now to go try to watch that best of 7 between Benoit and Booker now.
Yeah.
I definitely would.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com.